Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. You guys, my channel surpassed 200 subscribers this week, which just blows my mind. My whole intent when I started this channel was just to simply document my experience on my GLP-1 journey, and also to kind of help keep myself accountable. And it amazes me, the community that I found here, and that 200 plus people would take the time to even listen to what I have to say. So thank you to all of my returning subscribers. Welcome to all of my new subscribers. I'm so glad to have you here. I love the community that we are building, and I'm thankful for each and every one of you. In today's video, I am going to be giving my 25th injection. It's hard to believe I've already been taking this injection for 24 weeks. And I'm gonna go over my week 24 results. And then I wanna get into something that's a little bit near and dear to me. Having struggled with my own mental health issues, I thought that it would be important, this being Mental Health Awareness Month, that I share a few things that may be helpful to others. So I'm gonna talk about some of the struggles that I've dealt with, and then give a few tips that might help if you're struggling with some mental health issues. Just as a side note, I am not a doctor or a medical health care professional, and none of the information in this video is intended to diagnose or treat any illness. If you are experiencing any symptoms and need treatment, please seek your personal healthcare provider. So let's get right into today's video. So it's injection time. I have all of my supplies right here. We're just gonna go over real quick what I have. I have my alcohol wipes. I have my vial of medication, which this is a compound trizepatide. I'm going to be doing 6 milligrams today. It's actually 5.95, but 35 units to get to my 6 milligrams. And I have my syringe. And then I also have a sharps container. The first thing that I'm gonna do is clean off the top of my vial. So if you're new to compound medications or even the brand vials, or you're thinking about it and you're just a little scared to give the injection, you don't have to be scared of these. It may be a little intimidating at first, but it does get easier, and the needle is so small that you barely feel it, or at least I barely feel it. So I've cleaned off the top of my vial, and while I'm waiting for the alcohol on the top to dry, I'm gonna go ahead and prep my syringe, which I'm just taking off the cap of the plunger, and then I'm going to be doing 35 units, which equals my 5.95 milligrams. I'm pulling the syringe plunger back to 35 just to get air in the syringe. I do this because it helps eliminate the vacuum from forming inside the vial when you go to pull the medication out. Not necessary, but for me, it just makes it a little bit easier. Now the top of the vial is dry. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the cap off of my needle. And I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this, but the needle is very small and it's pretty thin. So it does not hurt very much at all. You hardly even feel it. Now I'm going to, if you can see, there is like a little rubber stopper in there, and in the center of that stopper there's a ring, like a little raised ring. You want to put the syringe right down in the middle of that ring, and then I'm going to press the air into the vial, turn it over. I'm going to draw it back to about 40 units, so that way if there is a little air bubble in the top, I can push that back into the vial. Okay, so I've got a little over 40 units. I do have a tiny air bubble up at the top, so I'm going to tap it to get it to the middle of the syringe and push that back. I am going to 35, so we are good. We're at 35. Just a tiny bit more. There we go. And then I pull it straight out so that I don't bend the needle. And I'm going to set this down on the counter, making sure that the needle is not touching anything else. Now, I'm going to go ahead and prep my spot. Today, I will be doing my lower right abdomen. Normally, I would be going down to my thigh, and I just don't feel like doing my thighs this week. The lower abdomen, for me, is the least painful spot. And not that any of the spots that I've injected have been painful, but the lower abdomen just seems to be the easiest spot to do the injection with the least amount of feeling. Let me put it that way. So I'm gonna go ahead and get you guys situated, and then I'm gonna clean off my abdomen. I've got my alcohol swab, and I'm gonna clean off this area. And I usually like to just clean more than what I think I'm gonna need, instead of just like cleaning one little bitty spot, because I may not get exactly where I cleaned, and I'd rather have a bigger area clean than just one little spot. So now I'm gonna let this dry, and then once this is dry, I'm gonna get my syringe, and I'm just going to pinch, which I really don't even have to, because the pressure from my tights is kind of pushing my belly up anyway. But I'm gonna go ahead and pinch this, and I'm just going to put the needle in, and then I'm going to press the plunger so that the medication goes in. Then I'm gonna get one more alcohol wipe and just wipe off my injection site one more time, just to make sure that it's good and clean, no bacteria there. And I'm going to put my syringe in my sharps container, and this one is getting kind of full now. And then I'm gonna use my last alcohol swab to clean off the top of my vial again before I put it back in my refrigerator. So I'm gonna get all this cleaned up, and then we'll be right back. Let's get into my week 24 results. And normally at the 24-week mark, I would be doing my measurements. However, the 22nd of this month will be the end of a full 6 months since I've been on a GLP-1. So I thought I'd hold off a couple more weeks and do my measurements when I hit the 6-month mark. But as for my weight loss results for this week, just to recap, when I started in November, I was 196.9 pounds. And when I weighed in last week, I was 162.2 pounds. When I weighed in this week, I was 161.4 pounds. So that is a loss of 0.8 pounds since last Friday, and a total loss so far on this journey of 35.5 pounds. So I am just completely blown away. This time last year, I was close to 240 pounds, and having lost as much as I could before starting on a GLP-1 and getting into Wonderland and then just stalling out, I had no idea that I would ever get to this point. And so I'm just completely amazed and blown away by my results so far. I still have a ways to go to get to my ideal body weight or body composition for my stature, because again, it is not about a number. As far as my symptoms this week, I feel like the medication worked really well. I'm happy with the fact that I went up to the 6 milligrams. If you watched last week's video, then you know that the food noise was out of control. I did bump up to 6 milligrams, or technically 5.95. And this week, the food noise is not there. I felt very in control of my food cravings and did not snack as much, and was not constantly thinking about what my next meal was going to be. So I feel like the 6 is good for me right now. And we're going to see how long I can make the 6 last. Other than that, this week, my energy level was okay. I did feel a little tired a couple of days after the shot, and that's normal for me. I usually will feel some fatigue the next day or 2 days after, so I'm fine with that. I was a little stressed out at work this week. Normal for my job. It goes up and down. But that's about it. I didn't really have any bad side effects, no nausea, no headaches, anything like that. So perfectly fine with how this is working for me. And a major win for me this week was none of my clothes fit. So I did have to go shopping. I just posted a clothing try-on haul. I will put that up in the cards. If you haven't seen that, make sure you check that out. Now let's just get into my topic for today, mental health. For me, obesity and mental health go hand in hand. Struggling with the disease of obesity is not just physical. It can also impact your mental health because it impacts your emotions, your self-confidence, your self-worth, which can then lead to even more struggles with weight because some of us are emotional eaters. So it becomes a vicious cycle, and you have to stop one from affecting the other so that you're not continuously feeling bad about yourself because you ate something, eating more because you feel bad, and then feeling bad because you ate. At least that's the struggle that I've dealt with. So I just thought I would talk about that today, with this being Mental Health Awareness Month, and then give a few tips that have helped me out on this journey, and maybe they can help you if you're struggling with this. Again, I am not a medical professional. I am not a therapist. If you are struggling with mental health, there is a link down below that you can reach out to for help. Throughout the course of this journey, I've come to realize that my struggle with obesity has affected my mental health in more ways than I even realized. Looking back over time, there have been things that have happened in my life. For instance, my divorce from my last husband. I thought it was me. It had to be something with me. There was something wrong with me. I wasn't enough. I wasn't pretty enough. I was too overweight. It just had to be me. And it's that feeling of worthlessness or self-loathing that comes along with struggling with the disease of obesity and not realizing that there's nothing wrong with me. Yes, I struggle with the disease of obesity, but that does not define who I am. And it's so important that we take time to change that mindset and realize that we are enough. So there's, of course, the obvious stuff like not feeling comfortable in your body, not liking the way that clothes look on you, struggling with your self-image or how you feel about yourself, avoiding pictures. That was a big one for me. And even now, I still find myself sometime avoiding pictures, but my weight does not define who I am. And there's other things that are not always so obvious, like anxiety and depression, or feeling like a total failure because a diet didn't work. Or maybe the diet did work, but then you stopped and you gained all the weight back. Those things weigh heavy on your mind, and they can really affect your mental health and your well-being. Losing weight on this GLP-1 has definitely helped, but the mental part of it is still a journey. I'm noticing things like one day I may feel more self-confident, and then the next day I'm feeling completely overwhelmed, or feeling the need to be perfect now that people are noticing my weight loss. And of course, everyone's favorite, old eating habits trying to creep their way back in. It can get complicated because sometimes the emotional weight can be heavier than the physical weight. And if you're feeling that, please know that you are not alone. There are a few things that have helped me along this journey, and I wanted to share them in hopes that maybe they'll help you too if you're dealing with some of these struggles. The first one is remembering that self-compassion is key. You won't be perfect every day, and that's okay. Nobody is. Just remember to show yourself grace. When you fall, and you're gonna fall because we all do at times, the important thing is to not stay down. Pick yourself back up, dust yourself off, and keep on going. The second thing that's helped me is journaling. Take some time to write down your thoughts. What are you dealing with? What's heavy on your mind? Write those things out and write down your wins, your accomplishment, not just your scale wins, your non-scale victories. Write all of that out. Just pour out your feelings into a journal. And on the days that you're feeling down, you can go back and you can look at that and you can see how far you've come. And for the things that you're really struggling with, sometimes it helps just to get that out. The third thing is finding a support system. A great support system is key to this journey, whether it's a friend, a family member, a therapist, or even somewhere in this online community. It's important to have somebody that you can lean on when you're feeling down and that can help pick you back up in those moments. So just remember, you don't have to do this alone. Get you a great support system. This community has been so amazing to me. There are so many wonderful content creators that I've connected with that really just help brighten my day when I'm feeling a little down. So make sure you have that support system. The next thing is celebrate the small wins. Not everything has to be 5 pounds lost. It's not always the number on the scale, remember? It could be a small win like I slept better last night, or I was able to lift 10 pounds instead of 5 pounds. I was able to do 20 squats instead of 15 squats. Those are huge. Even though they may seem minute, those are great wins. And every small win takes us one step closer to our goal. So remember to celebrate those wins. Don't just focus on the big wins. The small wins are just as important. Finally, create habits that restore you. Whether it's going for a walk, going to the gym, meditating, journaling, or doing something creative, whatever it is that frees up your mind and makes you feel energized and relieved and just refreshed. It's so important that we're taking care of not just our physical bodies, but our spiritual bodies as well. So make sure that you are taking time to take care of yourself, because our bodies are just the vessel that we live in. We have to take care of our mental well-being just as well as our physical well-being. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today's video. I know this was a little bit more deep than some of my other videos, but I feel like mental health is so important because you're the only you that you've got. And we've got to take care of ourselves. If anything that I said today resonated with you, I'd love to hear about it down in the comments. Let's support each other on this journey every step of the way. And don't forget to like this video if you found it encouraging, and subscribe for more updates on my GLP-1 journey. I will be back next week with my week 25 recap, and I'll also be talking about the power of protein on a GLP-1 journey. So make sure you hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when I post that video. And until then, remember to be kind, not only to your body, but to your mind, and stay blessed.